Hello everybody and welcome. I just wanted to say thank you for all you guys' support. I'm extremely happy with people watching my videos and subscribing to my channel. It makes me feel really good about making these videos, and I love that you guys enjoy them. I now have 500 subscribers, and that makes me feel good. So thank you, and I'll just keep making them like I do. Today I want to go over a really fun build. This one I call Math or Stacked Mirage. The idea behind the build is by stacking duration and power strength, you can apply a series of buffs to Mirage to give her a ton of extra damage. So again, here we're just going for the highest number possible, and this time it's actually a stacking theme based on Hall of Mirrors. This ability has an augment called Malevolence, which increases your damage by 5% every time you get a kill. To add to this, we're going to be using Shock plus Shock Trooper and Eclipse, because both of them just have very strong damage buffs. For our weapon, we're going to be using a stacking Soma Prime, but I'll go over that in just a second. So here's the build. Again, this is based on Hall of Mirrors and Mirage's other buffs. With the Hall of Malevolence augment, every time you kill an enemy, you're going to be doing 5% more damage. So this build actually stacks up pretty infinitely. We're using Shock plus Shock Trooper, just for a nice flat 270% damage. And we're also using Eclipse for a nice flat 540% damage increase. Here we have Corrosive Protection, just for an 18% armor reduction whenever it's needed. I didn't include this in my math, but obviously the numbers are just higher. I'm also using Adaptation and Vitality. This build is designed for higher level content, so I do think it's important to have some survivability here. The next thing we're going to cover is the stacking ability of the Soma Prime. I'm using the brand new Hata Satya for the Soma Prime just to stick with our stacking theme, but you can use whatever gun you want. I'm using this because it has a nice base crit chance and multiplier. And along with this ribbon that I have here, I feel like I can start stacking up the crit and the crit damage especially high. You can use whatever weapon and whatever build you want for this. Anything works awesome once you have these damage buffs going. Right now I'm just using a Corrosive Heat for armor stripping. And then on my secondaries I'm just using a little bit of Viral. And I'm using Shock Trooper specifically to add to the armor stripping effect on the Soma Prime. On my secondary, I just have a 93% status Viral Kuvanukor, and then my melee, I just again have a 95% status Viral Orthos Prime. But honestly, you don't even really need it. So here's an example of the build in action. You apply your buffs one at a time, and then just start firing. And the longer you shoot for, the faster you'll kill enemies, and the higher the damage numbers will go. You can see here it just starts to annihilate. These are the highest level 175 corrupted heavy gunners. This is supposed to be the toughest enemy in Warframe, and you can just shoot right through them with relative ease. But it'll pretty much be like this no matter what gun you use. If you want to use a status build like Phantasma, or if you want to use just something widely good for clearing like Ignis Wraith, you'll pretty much have the same effect no matter what. I'm just using the Soma for the nice mod and the memes. And I'll just talk about my choices a little bit, and I'll play a solo Kuvalich mission. So starting off with the Hall of Mirrors, this gives you great survivability, and again I wanted this to be a high level build. I am using Shock Trooper specifically. There is also Toxic Lash, and there is Smite Infusion. Both of these abilities apply the same effect, which is a very large damage buff. If you have one of these other abilities and you'd prefer to use those, go right on ahead. The reason I replaced Hall of Mirrors specifically on this build, it doesn't matter which one you replace. You can replace Sleight of Hand, or you can replace Eclipse on this build. It doesn't matter either way. Both of them have very, very limited range after you apply Narrow-Minded, so both of them become effectively useless. And the trade-off is you get a very, very high damage buff, and you get stacking damage buffs from multiple sources. And along with the Corrosive and Heat, you should be stripping armor off very quickly, and you should be able to kill almost anything with around, 10-15 shots. Right here, I'm just going through and I'm spraying and praying. I get a slight visual on any kind of target that I want, and I just start shooting. I am using corrosive via the status mods, and I'm using wildfire on purpose because it gives you a slightly larger magazine size, and it also gives you that little bit of heat. So the wildfire just works very well in conjunction with the hata satya mod for the Soma Prime. But again, this build is so neutral. It's a very neutral damage increase, and it should be whatever damage type you want. So you could put in radiation, you could put in toxin, or you could put in shock. If you're a big lover of those viral builds, go ahead and replace this with Saren's Toxic Lash ability instead of Volt's shock ability. But honestly, it's completely up to you. Once you get all your buffs going and you have all your stacks high enough, any gun should be able to shoot through pretty much anything in just a few shots. Like right there was a perfect example. I killed a Kuva Lich before I even realized it was there. It spawned right on top of me, and I just shot it to death, and I didn't even realize that it was a Kuva Lich until I hit X. This build will pretty much chew through anything in just a few bullets. And the longer you shoot for, the more damage you're going to do. There are a few other mods that you could swap out for if you wanted to optimize this a little bit better. But honestly, right now, it's just a very cheap build, and it's just for fun. But if you did want to do some other considerations, or if you wanted to do the math harder, a corrupted or a primed smite mod might increase the damage a little bit more. And you could also fit in Argon Scope if you feel like it. With Argon Scope increasing your crit chance while aiming. But that might be just for sniper rifles, not sure. I've tried to build with a few different guns. Right now I'm just using the Soma for fun, because I think it's funny and I thought it fit with the stacking beam. If you try this build with Phantasma, with a very nice status build, you know, maybe like radiation, viral, or heat, something like that, you should be able to kill enemies upwards of level 300-ish with ease and just a little bit of a spray. The worst part about this build, honestly, is survivability. I've tried it in the higher game modes, and it works, but it's a little bit challenging sometimes. But you could definitely use it in some easier steel paths, or if you have a squad. Again, thank you guys for checking out my videos. I know I haven't put one out in a couple weeks, and sorry for that. I've just been a little bit busy. I might be switching games soon. I like Warframe, but it's kind of not doing it for me right now, and I'm not happy with the current development of things. But hey, thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you next time.